What have I got myself into? This is
JUNKO fucking Enoshima.
the ultimate despair from the Danganronpa series. So yeah, we're gonna be doing what we did in my other videos about this topic. Basically trying to charge Junko for like all of her crimes that she's committed throughout the Danganronpa series. I put out a community poll and she won it by like a landslide, like it's not even close. I'm going to keep this 100% with you guys. I think I bit off a little bit more than I can chew with this one. Like this feels like it should be like a final episode sort of thing. Just how much there is with this character. Sure, the Postal dude was a lot, Nicole wasn't that bad, but Junko, if you've played the Danganronpa games, you already know just how despicable this character is, dude. Like, there's just so much shit. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of special rules for this episode. Like, there was like a few like minor rules in the beginning for the other two, but this is gonna be a lot more, so just bear with me for a sec. Because Danganronpa has so many different like spin-offs and stuff like that. I'm just limiting it to the original 3 games, so 1, 2, V3, and I'll do the anime, but I'm not doing anything other than that because we'll literally be here all day. Like, I'm probably expecting this to be the longest of these videos, but we'll see if that's like actually gonna be the case or not. One, even though she doesn't commit exactly all of the crimes, like, you know, herself, she's committed enough to where it counts. And also, we're gonna like include stuff like inciting riots, for example, spoilers. Like, she's not causing the riots, like she's not actually like doing any of that, like taking part in it, but she's the one that caused it, so it counts. We're not doing Mukuro. I mean, Mukuro is an essential part of a lot of them, and I'll mention her a couple times when it's like actually necessary. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Mukuro is her sister, and basically the one also responsible for most of what happens. Again, spoilers too, of course. I mean, it's pretty obvious spoilers for Danganronpa. Like, even clicking on this video is already a spoiler in itself. And one last thing, we're just going by the American justice system for simplicity's sake, because, well, it's not even gonna matter. Like you already know, I already know, it doesn't matter where on earth she's like at. It's not helping her. So usually I try to go in order, like if I'm talking about multiple games and like a specific series for a character, I go in game order, but there's just too many crimes I'm not going to, just to like make it easier on myself, so we're just gonna be listing them, to be honest with you. Try to go in order and I'll give examples and show things from like each game I'm talking about, obviously, but yeah, and also, I haven't played these games in 5 years. I most definitely will get stuff wrong, so just try to be patient with that. I mean, in my other videos, I've said the same thing, but yeah, sorry. First, we're gonna start with something small, you know, a little something something. Crimes against humanity, life sentence. Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Really. She literally causes the apocalypse, the end of the world as we know it. So, if that doesn't count as crimes against humanity, I don't know what will. Mutilation of a corpse. There's 2 main examples I'm thinking of when I'm talking about this. Both are specifically from the very first game. One is after she kills Mukuro, like disguised as Junko. Later uses the body, and I think chapter 5 or 6, I'm not too completely sure, but yeah, she uses it and then explodes the body. So I'm pretty sure that's mutilation to some extent. Or if you want to, you could say with Jin Kirigiri, aka Kyoko's dad, in the very first execution, he gets turned into bones. Then later takes his bones and puts them in a box and gives a Kirigiri later. So I'm pretty sure this is also desecration to some extent. I mean, you're literally putting his bones in a box and giving them to someone as like a present. Speaking of which, emotional distress. Yeah, I didn't include this when I was doing the Class of '09 video for this. I just kind of forgot it, but people reminded me, so I'm including it this time, and it's 18 months in jail. Emotional distress, obviously, anything that like severely makes you like emotional and worried and like scared and stuff. I mean, that's kind of her whole job, but if you want some examples, I just said about Kyoko, like that's gotta mess her up mentally, you know what I mean? She already didn't have a good relationship with her dad, and then that happens. Probably the biggest one is the despair video in the anime where like she shows everybody that like one video that basically just makes them have like a mental breakdown and stuff. Like especially Makoto, like he was going through it bit, and we see him firsthand. Blackmail, yeah, again, this happens a lot, but examples I'm thinking of are in the first game, she literally blackmails everyone with like the different secrets. All of those are like super severe, but it still happens anyway. There's also solicitation, which is basically like persuading someone to do a crime, like via different means. Like for example, it's like, oh, if you commit this crime, I'll do this, I'll do that, like stuff like that essentially. I mean, basically that's how she convinces most people to like do things anyway. So yes, solicitation 6 months. Conspiracy, basically meaning conspiracy to commit a crime. Yeah, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. That was pretty premeditated, you know what I mean? A little bit of planning went into that. And yeah, that's a life sentence right there. Speaking of premeditated, first degree murder. Now, there's so many instances, but if we just go by the executions, because obviously those were planned out in advance, specific to every character, or I guess every blackened, just counting it based off of that, 16. Yeah, this is including all the games, and I know that JUNKO herself technically, because she's dead in Danganronpa 2 and 3, meaning V3. However, since Tsurugi was basically trying to become the new JUNKO, I still count it, like, because, I mean, why not? And also, V3's ending is a bit, not the best, in my opinion. Now, I'll mention, like, specific crimes if they happen within the executions themselves. Like now, reckless driving. Yeah, this is, this is when the Celeste one for, like, driving the truck into her. Counting just because there's completely no disregard, obviously, for her safety. There's a ramp built to hit her, so reckless driving with, like, intent to actually, like, kill someone, that's gonna be like 20 years if it's first degree, which it is. Mutilation also, there's mutilation in most of these, like they're horribly disfigured and maimed in most of these executions. It's very rare they get killed without, like, you know, completely just getting destroyed in some way. You want one to specifically put it on? Mono butter. Like he literally melts into butter. Lynching, this happens in Kaide's execution, like she's literally hung. This is 30 years. In Monami's execution in Danganronpa 2, she uses the Mono Beast, and even just having the Mono Beast and Monokuma, period, and whatever those like giant robots are in Ultra Despair Girls, she has multiple counts of weapon of mass destruction, including the most vile and dangerous weapon of them all, Ball Monokuma. Illegal firearms possession, mainly from when she forces the students at Hope's Peak to like kill each other, or to what I said about like the blackmailing, or if you want an in-game example, Terrors, where he like literally gets like assaulted with like an attack helicopter. Also just general torture, like I mean she tortures them with these executions because they're not instantaneous, like they're agonizing throughout the whole thing. Also vandalism, specifically in the execution for Alter Ego, because just it's a computer and it's technically school property. This isn't destruction of property though, because we're actually going to give her destruction of property for everything else. Like we clearly see that like the tragedy, like there's buildings and like explosions and stuff, and even buildings on fire too, so that's also arson. Although she technically didn't like commit these herself, it was like her followers or like whatever. And yeah, I need a break. This is gonna be part 1. This is the part 1 section of the video, so we're gonna move on to part 2. Alright, so this is part 2 of the video. Kidnapping. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't mention this earlier. I didn't really list these crimes in any particular order. And this one's obvious. If you've played any of these games, they get kidnapped, like the entire class gets kidnapped. I'm almost certain that even if you don't want to use the game, this is not the first time she's ever kidnapped someone. Holding hostages is also a thing that she definitely has done. Again, Danganronpa 3's anime, Ryota, I think his name was, the ultimate animator. Now, I looked it up, holding hostages and kidnapping. It's basically the same thing, except one has, like, more violent attempt. Like, you can technically kidnap someone without doing anything violent. And she doesn't do anything violent to him, as far as I remember, but I'm almost certain if she didn't get what she wanted from him, she most certainly would have gotten rid of him, so to speak. Also, Nagito with the glick is so funny. Like, brainwashing. Yeah, all throughout the anime, she brainwashes different people. And also mind wiping. Like, she literally erases people's memories. Now, these are very, like, sci-fi ass crimes, and there's no real legal reasoning for them, especially because brainwashing, you could kind of argue that that's, like, a thing, actually. Like, erasing someone's memory, you cannot, like, do that in the real world. Unless you want to get into, like, some conspiracy theory stuff, but, like, I'm both gonna just chalk these up to a life sentence, because these are criminal like, there's no good reason for this, you know what I mean? So, I'll just add them both as life sentences. I know that might be cheating, and some might not agree with me, but, like, come on now. There's also the despair disease, if you want to count that as some form of, like, brainwashing / hypnosis. Speaking of that, lobotomy. She gave Chiza a lobotomy. Which, yeah, very illegal and not, like, a thing that you can really do. Or shouldn't be allowed to be done to somebody. This is technically, like, malpractice. Like, meaning, like, bad, like, surgery or, like, illegal surgery or something like that. And yeah, no, this one is also, it varies, but I've seen, like, multiple things, but I think it's safe to say this is another life sentence situation. Because you're, like, illegally fucking with someone's brain. And I mean, technically, Mukuro did this, but I mean, Junko is the one that told her to do it, so. Espionage, this is basically her just exposing, like, everything about Hope's Peak Academy and all the shady stuff she was doing, which, to be fair, this is the one correct thing that was actually, like, not wrong, technically, that she's done, but still, it's still a crime to leak, like, classified info like this to the public. And from what I've found, it could be up to, like, 10 years. Obstruction of justice, that's the one I could find that, like, basically fits what I'm about to say, but, like, her framing people. And the main case is the first game where she tries to blame Kyoko as being the one who murdered Mukuro. Again, this one is tricky because it's varying, but what I found was it could be up to like 6 months in jail. Attempted murder, this is when she tries to kill Makoto while he's sleeping. Then also does assault and battery, again to him specifically, where she just like knocks him out, like a piece of wood or something. I forget exactly what the weapon was, but yeah, she just like bonks him on the head and he gets knocked unconscious. Child endangerment, again, with all the shit that she caused at the Hope's Peak Academy, and the characters, and this is talking about like not during the killing game where they're actually like all older than they are, because they're all technically adults in the games, but in the anime, they're all like actually like children, like they're all high school age, like genuinely. Speaking of child endangerment, grooming. Okay, now before you say anything, this is like grooming in the, not in like the sexual way, like the just manipulating someone way. I mean like the Warriors of Hope, because like that's the whole point of them. Like she like basically grooms them into doing like her dirty work, especially Monica. Monica just basically becomes like a little tiny Junko. And yeah, she ends up doing like horrible things. So this basically, I found 15 years for this. Harassment. Again, this probably should have been like mentioned way sooner, but yeah, obviously she like purposely harasses people to like get a rise with out of them and causes emotional distress with it. So in like the most severe cases, it can reach up to 10 years in prison. Reckless endangerment, 30 years. Just like for complete, honestly, just lack of like remorse or like caring if anybody gets hurt. Like for example, like even just having all of the like non-blackened students, like even just having them in a situation like this is reckless endangerment, because there's a queer chance that they can get hurt, like aka like murdered. And if they do get murdered, that's second-degree murder. Because, yeah, we gave her first-degree murder for, like, obviously intentionally killing people. But also, there's also, you can make the argument that, like, she doesn't know who's gonna die necessarily. Like, in all honesty, like, she had no idea who was gonna kill who in these killing games for the most part. So, second-degree murder. Starvation. Yeah, in Danganronpa 2 in the funhouse, she, like, intentionally starves them until someone competes in, like, the death room or whatever, which Nagito is the one that ends up completing it. Yeah, this is a direct war crime, like refusing to like feed somebody like to this extent. And literally they were like starving to the point of like becoming delirious. This is in direct violation of the Geneva Convention. So you could also, as well as like a bunch of other stuff I said, you can count these all as war crimes, which I don't think needs to be mentioned, that this would definitely be a life sentence. Hate crimes. So one specific hate crime, I already mentioned blackmail, so this could be another case of that, but mainly what I'm talking about is that apparently I forgot that the Danganronpa 3 anime, she blackmails Juzo, who's like that other dude, like of the 3 teachers, and she literally makes fun of the fact that he's like gay and in the closet for like Munakata, I think his name is. She literally uses that fact to like blackmail him, so I'm counting this as a hate crime. It's like not me just like implying, no, it's like explicitly stated, like she makes fun of him because he's gay. There's also unauthorized hacking. This is when she hacks into and installs her like AI virus within the simulation. Yeah, this can vary depending on like what actually happens. Like usually like how much damage it cost or like just the malicious intent behind it. And yeah, this was pretty malicious, you know what I mean? Like it ruined the entire like whole rehabilitation process for everybody. And I found that, like, for a second-time conviction, and I'm just gonna say that because it's, like, you know, pretty serious, is around 10 years in prison. And if I didn't mention it already, I know I mentioned it in the beginning, but I don't think I actually counted it. I was just giving an example. But yeah, inciting riots, I mean, that's the whole point behind what happened at Hope's Peak Academy originally, and why she leaked the information to spread, like, secrets of Hope's Peak Academy to rile everyone up and incite the riots. And lastly, I think I want to just mention that invasion of privacy. I mean, there are literally cameras everywhere throughout the entire school in all 3 of the games. And yeah, she's like fully listening in on it and everything. I said this explicitly in Danganronpa 2, that like she is spying on everyone. And yeah, this can be up to 5 years in jail. Oh my god, that was a lot. Now, we're reaching the end, and all we have left is to really tally them up. And again, I say this in all these videos, don't take this 100% seriously. I am not a law expert. I am literally just saying facts, and everything may not apply the way I'm saying it. This is just everything I was able to find. But yeah, now let's add it all up. And now for the grand total, if you add all these crimes up, she receives a sentence of 4,779 years. Now, this is way less than, honestly, even the Postal dude. But there's probably a reason for that. The way I did this, like, it not being a game-by-game basis, was probably gonna, like, you know, affect it in a way. And also, there was no way with a lot of these where I can count the exact amount of people that were like harmed or injured. Like I could, and I tried to an extent, because I go back and like try to add up the total of like everything, like, and if the crimes were committed in like multiple games and stuff. But like even then it was just harder because they're a lot more vague. Especially in the case of the games, a lot of the stuff we don't actually see, it's just told to us. And there's so many characters that get like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff off screen that we do not see, period. With Postal Dude, there's way more stuff because, you know, you're actually playing as him. And Junko, to be honest, barely even appears in the games, like, at all. When she does, it's usually towards, like, the end for obvious reasons. But, yeah, so I'm most certainly that this is, like, wrong. Hey, that's what you guys are for. You guys have corrected me before if I was ever wrong on stuff. I definitely am. There was just way too much here to cover, so there's definitely more to this. But, yeah, I did the best I could. Yeah, again, these videos are fun to do, so let me know down below what other characters you want to see me do crimes for. I'd be down to even do another Danganronpa one, maybe on like Nagito or Mukuro or even Kokichi. And yeah, if you like other Danganronpa, I have like a bunch of Danganronpa videos on my channel and more of these crime videos. So yeah, let me know down below, and see ya.